Shun the company of the critic. As there is fire in the wood and fragrance in the flower, O Paltu, in the same way the Lord dwells within his devotee. This is the Bani of Satguru Paltu Sahib. Nowadays, many people are atheists. They say, "There is no God. You people are believing in fantasy and falsehood." From their point of view, this is true because their intellect is limited to the gross material world. They do not realize that God is something rarefied and spiritual, so they assert, "There is no God." They do not see him, so they say, "What is the point of all this rigmarole?" To help us understand the reality, Paltu Sahib Ji explains about the nature of the Lord. He says, "The Lord is like the fire hidden in the wood. If you superficially observe a piece of wood, you don't see any fire. But in a big forest, fires ignite spontaneously when the branches rub together in the blowing wind. This rubbing produces heat and sets the trees on fire, and in the end, the whole forest is burnt. Likewise, there is fragrance in the flower. We cannot see the fragrance, it is hidden from our eyes, but through the nose, the sense of smell, we become aware of the hidden fragrance. In the same way, the Almighty Lord remains hidden in the heart of the devotee. The devotee is conscious of that power and says, 'The Lord dwells within me. I see him clearly.' But to those with gross, blind intellects, this seems like make-believe." Bani. Just like there is redness in the henna leaves and butter in the milk, O Paltu, the saints see that the Lord dwells within all. Now consider the leaves of the henna plant. On the surface they look green, but the leaves have redness within them. Similarly, ghee or clarified butter is hidden in the milk. When you warm the milk and add some coagulant, then the milk firms up into yogurt. If you churn that yogurt, the butter separates out, and when you heat that butter, the residual water evaporates and only ghee remains. If you put that ghee into milk, it will float to the top. The ghee will not mix with the milk. In the same way, the Lord is within us, in his hidden form. We have to become seekers after God. The Guru-mukhs and devotees come to know the inner secret. When they search their own hearts, they discover the Almighty Lord. The Lord is not sitting somewhere outside. Bani. The one who gives up the desires of the world, destroys lust and anger. O Paltu, such a devotee the worldly people bow down to with respect. He says, "Give up the desires of the world." What is the root of all these desires? Lust and anger. If a person gives up both of these and searches within, then the Lord's Nam will manifest. Beholding such devotees, even the wealthy merchants, the kings and emperors spontaneously bow down before them. What worldly goods do these devotees possess? Outwardly, they have only a loincloth or some simple garment, but the power manifested within them commands so much respect, even from the worldly people. So you should become absorbed in the Lord, following the example of the Guru-mukhs. But this is not an easy thing to accomplish. When with wholehearted devotion we surrender to the Guru, giving up our ego and arrogance, when our love becomes totally absorbed in the Lord, then we achieve such an exalted state. Bani. If someone indulges in criticism and praise, abandon their company. O Paltu, everyone bows down before those devotees who free themselves from these ills. Some people praise you, some people criticize you. You do not achieve greatness through other people's praise, and you are not diminished through other people's criticism. These people are criticizing and praising others based on their own understanding and motives. Therefore, shun their company. As Guru Amar Das Ji says, "It is never good to criticize anyone. Only the foolish manmukhs indulge in this. Those who criticize others, their faces are blackened, and they are thrown into the deepest hells. So never criticize anyone. Even if someone is the worst of the worst, never have a critical thought or utter a harsh word about them. Once Emperor Akbar was sitting with his assembly of ministers and advisors, addressing them. He said, "What punishment should be meted out to those who indulge in criticism and backbiting?" Everyone kept quiet. They had no reply to his question. Whenever someone wants to criticize others, they never do it openly. They whisper their secrets in the ear. They want to unpack their wares behind closed doors. So how could such people be caught and punished? Just then, Birbal joined the assembly, and Akbar put the question to him. People who criticize others, what punishment should they receive? Instantly, Birbal replied, "What to speak of the ones who criticize? Even the ones who listen to the criticism should have their ears cut off." Akbar asked him why he favored such a severe punishment, and Birbal explained, "The person who listens to criticism adds their own embellishments to the tales they hear, and then they pass those stories on to others. And when the critic finds such a willing ear, he will definitely return the next day to share more gossip." If someone comes to you with vicious tales, instead of listening, you should tell them, "Brother, why are you finding fault with others? You should keep your mind riveted in the remembrance of the Lord and give up this bad habit of criticism. If you explain like this to the critics, they will not return and bother you again. Therefore, it is said, avoid the company of those who criticize others and sing their own praises." If you want to praise anyone, praise the Almighty Lord. If you want to criticize anyone, criticize your own self. Bani. Go on with the devotion all the hours of the day and night, like the unbroken stream of oil. O Paltu, otherwise how can you reach the other shore? Remain absorbed in the devotion to the Lord. All the 8 watches, 24 hours, of the day. Keep your eye fixed on your goal. Don't forget the Lord even for a moment. Guru Nanak tells us, "If I were to forget you even for a moment, O Lord, it would be like 50 years. If you become such a seeker after God, you will find that He is not far away from you. He is the knower of your heart. Many people take initiation but do not even remember the 5 holy names. Somebody might say, "Well, I do remember one of the names." When you ask, "Which name do you remember?" they reply, "I remember Sat Nam, but the other 4, I've completely forgotten them." They tell me, "Next time you give initiation, I will sit in and refresh my memory." Friend, what can you gain through such discipleship?